So welcome everyone to this IoD North Yorkshire Members Social. For those who don't know me, my name's Helena Drake. I'm a branch manager for the IoD, and one of my branches is IoD North Yorkshire. So hello if we haven't met before. We've got a great agenda for you this afternoon. We're going to talk about some of our branch initiatives that we've got going on. We've got some of my colleagues from the Information and Advisory Service who are going to talk a little bit about that. And we've got a lot of members of our North Yorkshire Committee on the line who are just going to do a quick intro as well. And then we've got some time for questions and a bit of networking as well. So hopefully it's a good, useful hour for you. And I hope you enjoy it. Just a couple of housekeeping. If you could just keep your mics on mute if you're not talking, that would be really helpful. And we'll have recording the session just up until kind of before the questions and the networking, just so anyone can catch up if they've missed it. So without further ado, I shall hand over to Ian to introduce the first part of tonight's session.
That's great. Thank you very much, Helena. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Ian Garner. I'm Vice Chair of the North Yorkshire branch of the Institute of Directors. I'm retired from corporate life now, but I spent my last 10 years using my experience in strategy and business development with an international healthcare organisation across Australia, Europe, North America, West Africa and Southeast Asia. So my specialisation really is international business. I joined our committee to help our members make the best from the IoD and help them to become the best director that they can be. I'm managing the slides today, so apologies if it doesn't go as slickly as it should. As you can see here, we have a committee. We've got apologies from Caroline Pullich, our chair, who's up a mountain in North Wales. Apologies from Ellis Hall, who's our Environment and Sustainability Ambassador, who's up a mountain in Scotland. Bea Ola is our Diversity and Inclusion Ambassador and Chair of the Young Directors Forum, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. It's her birthday today, but she's also on leave. And Andrew Palmer, our Communications and PR Ambassador, is travelling back from a business meeting, so unable to join us. But the rest of the committee are here today. We're all volunteers on the committee, and we play a role in the local branch of the IoD to deliver for local members. We're local business people supporting and engaging with IoD members throughout North Yorkshire. So I'd like the committee to introduce themselves. And first, could I ask Angela to introduce herself, please?
Hi, I'm Angela Brown. I'm a marketing consultant, so I have my own marketing consultancy called Meteoric Marketing and work with other, helping other businesses build their profile. I joined the IoD as an ambassador recently because I'm really passionate that as a director, it can feel a little bit, especially in the kind of testing times we've had over the last 12 to 18 months, it can feel like a bit of a lonely place sometimes. And I think having a forum and a support network around you and just other people to talk to can be really powerful. So, you know, I feel really passionately that that's such a strength of the IoD and kind of really want to help the committee get the word out and grow that network for all of us really in North Yorkshire.
That's great, thank you, Angela. Nick, would you like to go next?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Nick Bradley. I'm the founder and CEO of Mandala Leaders. After having a 20-year career in investment banking, doing financial restructurings, I realized that the thing we were doing mostly is helping business owners and business leaders through their own tough times. And that's what I do now in Mandala Leaders. And I joined the IoD when I set up my own business to get that help and support, because it's a lonely place being on your own in your own business, to get the help and support and the networking and the mentoring across the IoD, but also access to the insurance and the other add-on benefits that they provide, talking about one of those later on today. So delighted to be an ambassador and proud to be driving Institute of Directors forward in North Yorkshire and particularly the City of York.
Great, thank you, Nick. I was going to ask Greg next, but I'm not sure if Greg's there. Are you there, Greg? No, I think Greg's been caught up on something, so I'll move on to Paul. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Paul Stanley. I'm Chief Executive of a Harrogate-based energy business called CNG, but I spent most of my career in entrepreneurial tech businesses, working pretty much on every continent. My role within the IoD is to be the ambassador for education and skills, which is really exciting. I've always been involved with the university sector and done research in business schools. And so it's great to have a foot in that camp as well. And we'll talk a bit more about that a bit later. Good to see you all.
Great, Paul. Thank you very much. Tony, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi, Tony Webster. I'm describe myself as a wayfinder. I help businesses and business owners find their way, typically SMEs, and I do that through my consultancy, which is Wayfinder. It follows 20 years of being in business, having been there and done it, started a business, grew it, sold it to an American company, bought another one, had some problems with that. So I've been there and done it. Latterly, I've got involved in the business of sport, completed a master's degree in sports directorship, and I'm looking to help businesses that are in sport. I've been a long-standing member of the IoD, initially to learn from other directors, and also at the time utilise the offices in Pall Mall in London. And for the last 3-4 years, been an ambassador in Yorkshire and part of this fairly active North Yorkshire committee. So nice to see you all.
Great, thank you, Tony. David, would you like to go next?
Yes, hello, I'm David Spillane, and I'm here acting as the digital ambassador for the group. And in my day job, I head up mobile strategy at a company called Pocketworks in Leeds. So we specialise in developing apps. And my journey with the IoD actually started 2019, and I enrolled on the certificate program on the 5-day kind of intensive program. And I came to a point in my life when I'd led digital transformation programs and projects, but I felt one gap which was missing was an understanding of the deeper financial responsibilities and organizational structures that a director brings. And so that started me off really on my kind of journey. And the more I became involved with the IoD, first of all talking with Ian and Nick, it's I found it's been a great place to meet new friends, contacts, to collaborate as well. So I think the strongest aspect for me has been having the ability to actually talk to somebody who has many more years experience than myself. So for me, it's been a great learning experience.
That's great, thank you, David. And finally, last but not least, Jasmine, who's just recently joined us as our student graduate ambassador. So over to you, Jasmine.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm currently studying for a Master's in Human Resource Management at the University of York, and I am the new Student Graduate Ambassador for North Yorkshire. I hope to help young students and graduates get the help and support they can expect from the IoD.
Great, thank you. Helena, what's next?
So thank you, everyone. Next up, we've got some of my colleagues from the Information Advisory Service at the IoD, and they've got some slides as well. So I'll hand over to, I think, Darren, who's on the line.
Hello, it's nearly good evening, everyone, but it's still just at the end of good afternoon. We're very happy to join you today. I'm Darren Lynch. I'm the lead for the Information and Advisory Service. I also have my colleague Shelley Andrews with me, who looks after the Director's Advisory Service. I'm not sure, can I move these slides? Perhaps I can't. No, if we can just move one slide along. The Information and Advisory Service, known generally as the IAS, it is an exclusive in-membership benefit for full members of the IoD. It has 4 main components, which is a 5-person information research team, a panel of external advisors or time-served experts in their field, plus a legal helpline and a tax helpline. Because it is an in-membership benefit, it is free at the point of use. There are no catches, there are no charges. If you went out into the free market, the research time and the conversations you can have with our advisory panel, these would cost a minimum of £3,000 a year. And of course, we are entirely not dependent on premises. Members from Penzance to Prestwick and wherever, they can get in touch with us by phone, email, or we also have a contact function in IoD.com. Yes, if we could have the next slide, please. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the people-driven components of the service, they are known as the Business Information Service. This is the 5-person research team. They are backed up by a number of commercial databases. Essentially, we subscribe to them, so you don't have to. They're very strong on company research, although constituted as databases based on statutory returns. They do do a useful sideline in lead generation. If you want to know about, the company environment around you, what companies are where, size, activity, and quite often we can also get direct contacts at board level. We do a very strong trade in template legal documents. I noticed that we have a lot of consultants with us today. So consultancy agreements with various weightings to you, to the client, non-disclosure agreements of various weightings. We have access to the Nexus Press and Journal archive, so we can go back 10 years in terms of due diligence checks, reputation checks, and also getting very informative content out of journals. We also have access to the IBIS World industry sector report database. These reports, they have a cover price of, I believe, about £350. We can provide them to you just as a straightforward benefit of your IoD membership. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Shelley Andrews in just a minute to discuss the Directors Advisory Service. One thing I would emphasize is that if you are a member of the IoD, you already have access to a team who can save you time and money on any research that you're undertaking at your own expense and under your own steam. If you spend a day at the coalface and are looking online at 10:30 at night or at the weekend, you really should be involving the information and advisory service in your working life. That is exclusively what we're here to do, is support and work with IoD members. You will find the team to be a very engaging and imaginative partner in finding the things you need to know about, whether that's the art and science of being a company director, or the basic information that you need to drive business marketing. Shelley, can you tell everyone a bit about the Directors Advisory Service, please? Directors Advisory Service, please. Can we go back to the previous slide?
Okay, thank you, Darren, and it's nice to meet some people. I recognise some names on this call. So yeah, I'm Shelley and I'm the advisory lead. So that means I deal with members and diarising them with some of our fabulous advisors that we have on our panel. And the value of sort of meeting with one of our advisors is the value it could potentially add to your business, and the fact that they are confidential one-to-one advisory sessions. So Darren did mention earlier on, we've got the legal and the tax helpline as well, and they're to hand. You can call them up for a quick sort of 10-minute brief conversation with a query you might have. With the advisory service, they're an expert panel of advisors who cover employment law, commercial law. We've got people who can review CVs for you, and you have conversations with these advisors. It could be you're thinking of becoming a non-executive director and you want to have your CV reviewed, and we've got an advisor who can help you with that and provide you with sort of expert advice on sort of, you know, modifications and even sort of taking through the next steps for career transition. And you know, this would be sort of great value to you. And sort of, you know, you can pay a CV company to potentially look through your CV. But you can sort of have a meeting with one of our advisors as part of your membership for free. And you can sort of have meetings with some of our advisors as well, starting out a business. I know Tony sort of mentioned he helps people with his company. We've also got some advisors as well who you can have meetings with and help focus your business aims and your objectives going forwards if you're starting up with a business. And the great thing is you get all of this support for free. And they're experienced advisors as well. They've got sort of 20, 30 years experience under their belt. They've been there and they've done that. So they can sort of even sort of just have a sort of a nice general chat with you about your business and where you're going. It's sort of very worthwhile to have a session with one of them. Back to you, Darren.
Thank you, Shelley. I was hearing some breakup on the audio there. Am I sounding okay to people?
I can hear you okay.
Okay. Just to reverse a little bit, does the advisory service offer conversations that you good folks are used to having with your customers? Yes, we do. That is not the biggest part of the service. The biggest part of the service is, you know, the hard yards of commercial law, employment law. We also have IP lawyers. You know, we sometimes entertain ourselves by asking our advisors how much their open market rates are. And, you know, they range from 150 to 350 pounds an hour. And they're active in the advisory service. It has a slight pro bono sentiment. Most of them are IoD members. And so they are just sharing the benefit of their experience. So even if you think, oh, well, I already know about that, there is certainly going to be an advisor who can help and support you with the issues that you will encounter in business life. None of this would mean very much if we didn't talk about the impact that the IAS has. With the pandemic last year, demand was actually slightly lower, but we still served just under 1,400 unique members with just over 3,000 information requests. This, you know, very clearly divides as 1.5 inquiry per, you know, member using us. Once you've engaged with the service, you're likely to continue using it. Most people, certainly once they see the value and the benefit of the service, they continue to use us. And it was the same thing with the advisory service. Nearly 600 members using us over 800 times, again, so people keep coming back. And yes, the phone and tax helplines, which you can use on 25 occasions a year, are incredibly useful for when you have, you know, single issue questions. Is this legal? Yes, no. What is my VAT position on this transaction? And, you know, very, very handy at a practical level. Whenever a member does use our service, whenever we close the inquiry in the IoD's CRM system, it generates a feedback request. Some members are kind enough to provide responses, such as the ones we see here. These responses simply highlight, you know, the way that engaging with the IAS fully realizes your value, the value of IoD membership. Yep, these are genuine statements by people saying, yep, that this really made it all worthwhile. I'm not going to blow our own trumpet. You know, we are a free free at the point of use benefit. We are not Deloitte for free. It's just that when our capacity and capability align with what you need, it really is a fantastic element of IoD membership. We do have on the next slide some typical questions that were asked. I'm not actually going to inch through these. If you can quickly scan them. As I said, we help you, being a good director, we are an important part of that IoD core mission. But yes, we also support, you in business. So if you need company information, if you need due diligence on prospective contacts, and we do a lot of profiling of markets. People asking us how many companies in Yorkshire are active in this sector. I remember when Ian Garner kindly reached out to us and said, could you come and could you help come and present IoD Northwest? I remember just sending him this email, which I bombarded him with a load of numbers about the company composition of North Yorkshire. But yes, this is the kind of thing we do. And it is, and we're always looking for the question we've never been asked. Of course, company directors, very often they have quite similar interests, as they should, because there's one Companies Act for everyone, but we're always on the lookout for the question we've never been asked. So I can only encourage you all, get in touch with us. As I say, they're a great team, and just talk about what you're interested in knowing about or interested in talking about. We then have some, on the next slide, we have some typical advisory requests. Shelley, if you're still there.
I'm still here, so long as people can hear me okay. For example, on the slide there is like, can you review my director's service agreement? So like Darren mentioned, we've got access to Lexis, BSL legal database for all the documents, and our advisors can review up to 10 pages of documentation for members. And we've got quite a few lawyers and solicitors who can review not just director service agreements, but other types of employment agreements, consultancy agreements, and such like. And we've also got chartered accountants, so anybody sort of looking for funding, needing to raise some money, they can speak to one of our chartered accountants about sort of avenues that they can explore. To sort of the ones where they might have sort of an issue with a team member being sort of off sick or other sort of issues, and they can speak to one of our employment advisors for some assistance in that way. So lots of sort of different types of advisory requests we get, and what I always say is, if you're not too sure if it is something we can help with, to drop us a line, because I can always sort of put the query out there to my advisors, and they get back and they sort of say, oh, yes, I just so happen that I've dealt with this area before, Shelley, that I wasn't aware of, and I can then get back to the member and we can help you out. That's some of the typical requests we get.
Okay, thank you very much, Shelley. I mean, I'll conclude, because we are at the end of the, tickling by PowerPoint. So something where we really come into our own is when we have very topical developments. There are very few statutory, there is the absolute statutory requirements of a director as it set down in the Companies Act about how you conduct yourself and to what purpose you conduct yourself. But sometimes where something comes along that has a universal impact, we work with about 2,000 members each year. When GDPR came into effect, in 1 month we worked with 4,000 members to get them equipped with the enhanced policies that they need. And as June the 21st comes around, if any IoD member who is not currently in possession of a COVID risk assessment and the consequent enhanced safety at work policy should just send us their membership number and say, send me the COVID resources. Likewise with IR35 now, and everyone needs a status determination outcome on their relationship with contractors, we can provide you a template for that, plus various other IR35 related resources. So they're two immediate things we can do about things which I'm sure have crossed all of your minds at some point over the past couple of weeks. And that is your information and advisory service.
That's great. Thank you, Darren and Shelley. We do have one really quick question, so I'll just throw it to you. One of our members has said, we have always sent in requests via email. Do you also have phone support to ask the question that's never been asked?
Oh, to ask a question. Yes, we do. And it's more fun because the team are really great on the phone. We have a kind of semi-notorious reputation as one of the most reactive teams in the organisation. So, yep, we are on 0207 451 3100. We'll also write that down here.
That is great. Thanks very much again, Darren and Shelley. I'm handing over to Ian again for the next part of this session. So thanks again, Darren and Shelley. That was really great.
Thank you.
Yes, great. Thank you very much, Darren and Shelley. That was really brilliant. I'd like to take a few minutes now to talk about the North Yorkshire Young Directors Forum. We launched the forum in November last year. Our vision is for a community of young directors who can network together to share thoughts, issues and challenges, and either find solutions amongst themselves or tap into the vast resources of the IoD that we've just been hearing about. The forum is led by young directors Bea Ola and Greg Barton, and is supported by an extensive support on which the IoD members can always rely. However, the strongest feature is the opportunity to network amongst fellow young directors and have access to the wider North Yorkshire membership who can offer support, experience and wisdom, and in some cases, mentoring. Although we call it the Young Directors Forum, we don't have an age limit, so any new director early in their journey to run a business is welcome to join. So if you're in your 40s or your 50s, but you're new to running a business, then we'd be very pleased to have you join our forum. As you can see, we've had, I'll just change the slide. As you can see, we've had a number of events since we launched at York Business Week in November. These are designed to address the issues faced by directors. And as we go along the agenda, will be driven by the young directors themselves. So our launched event had a local young businessman who'd started a business and his business had been pretty much destroyed by the pandemic. And he was able to pivot his business to making hand sanitizers, and he survived and indeed thrived. So it was a very useful session for people to talk about how to deal with things when things go wrong. We had a session navigating the funding landscape, which was about, you know, you can go to the bank and they'll lend you some money, maybe, but they may not. You may not be suitable for the bank, but there might be some private capital, private equity, venture capital organizations that might support you. And then there are a range of government grants and government loans. And it's quite difficult for any director really to navigate their way through that field. We had a session that was very helpful on that. We had a session about improving your pitching skills. So if you're going forward and you're trying to sell or you're trying to get somebody on board, it was a very good session about pitching skills. We also had a session that, listening to what Darren was saying about the responsibilities of a director. We had a session about the director's duties, which I think everybody found really helpful, because it can be quite scary if you don't really know what your responsibilities are, and some of the consequences can be quite severe. So it's very useful to know what they are to make sure that you stay on the right side of the law and the regulations. And then as recently as last evening, we had a forum, Where Now for Business Support, and it was a gentleman who's the manager of the Growth Hub as part of York and North Yorkshire LEP, who can provide a lot of support for people, and he was able to share with us what the Growth Hub can deliver locally. for people. So I think that's really telling you as much as I can in a few minutes about the Young Directors Forum. If you're a young director, or if you know a young director, or a person who's a prospective director, somebody perhaps working their way through the organisation with a fast track towards being a director, please encourage them to get in touch and join our forum, because I'm sure they'll benefit. The details of how to do that will be in a follow-up email that Helena will be distributing after the event the next 2 or 3 days. So the only other thing to mention before I hand over to Paul is that our next event, which is putting people at the heart of your business. As you can see there, it's on the 10th of June. It's at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's available on the website to book. And again, that link will be included in the email that will come out at the end of or in the next few days. So at that point, I'd just like to hand over to Paul, who's going to talk about some of the other activities that we have within the branch.
Thanks, Ian. So I'm going to cover 3 things, if that's okay. One is the Director Support Network. 2 is some of the engagement that we've started with the local universities in York. And then the 3rd thing I'm going to cover is our September pitch event, which is taking place in York Business Week. So talking first about the Director Support Network, we were aware as a committee, as a group of ambassadors, that between us we had some pretty good experience and skills, and informally we're often approached to provide help and advice and support to businesses. And we'd seen some activities elsewhere in the IoD, in particular around Birmingham, where this activity had been formalised to create a group of mentors who could work in a much more structured way, applying the right skills to the right problems. And so we've launched the Director Support Network in North Yorkshire and already had close to 20 people volunteer to be involved, which is excellent, and more are welcome. And I've already been approached by people to help them with business problems, as I'm sure other people have. But we're going to put some structure around that so that we can curate the incoming requests for help and support and monitor progress. In addition, the experience from Birmingham suggests that there's a really strong demand for mentorship from the student population. And there's been a really great engagement between the Midlands IoD and Birmingham University, and we'd like to emulate that as well. A lot of students, as they're coming towards the end of their degrees, are thinking about their career options. They may not have experience of interviewing. They may not even really know what they want to do. And so connecting up with an IoD mentor can help prepare them for that next step. And so we've been talking to the business schools in York Business School and York Management School, and I'm going to get Jasmine involved with this as well, given her brief for the student and graduate community about how we can work together on young directors, on providing courses for future directors under the Tomorrow's Director programme, which is a really excellent and great value for money programme. And we're also looking to pilot some IoD certificate exemptions in partnership with those universities who are offering executive MBA programmes. And all of that should start to come together over the summer months in time for the next academic year. So look out for the Director Support Network, and if you feel that you need help with anything, then please come and talk to us. We're more than happy to help, and as is the theme in today's presentations, all of this is free, or at least all included with your membership, so why not take advantage of it? And then finally, I'd like to talk about the September pitch event, the accelerator event. So at York Business School on the 21st of September, we'll be hosting a fairly large event that's sponsored by a number of decent sized brands in the accounting, financial services and private equity world, where we're inviting teams of entrepreneurs to come together to pitch their business idea, a little bit like Dragon's Den, live on stage in front of an audience. And the professional advisors and investors involved in that will provide feedback, and there'll be a competition and a prize and so on. But more importantly, it's a social event where people with money will be able to come together with people who need money. And so we expect at the coffee breaks and the lunch and and the drinks at the end of the day to see a bit of speed dating between investors and those organisations who are out looking for money. We hope this will be the first of many of these events. We hope there'll be at least an annual event in the Yorkshire IoD. We've got a great location, a great panel, and it's fantastic to have the sponsorship of some really well-known brands in the advisor and investor community. So please look out for that on the 21st of September. And if you can come along, please do. And if nothing else, have a glass of wine with us at the end of the day. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.